What is going on, Diablo 2 fans? Dobrunsky here, and today I'm going to be covering what I think are some of the coolest changes that have been made to Rune Words specifically in the up-and-coming Diablo 2 private server mod called Project Diablo 2. It's the mod that you see behind me that has implemented changes like no cooldown to Frozen Orb. Now, I made a video last week covering some of the coolest changes to items, and today I want to specifically focus on Rune Words, and I got a cool surprise for you guys. I have two exclusive sneak peeks of Rune Words that nobody else has seen yet. The creator of this mod, Senpai Something, sent them to me to just show off in today's YouTube video, so huge shout out to him. And I have a bunch of links in the description below, so if you want to check out Project Diablo Discord server, their Reddit, etc., they're all there. So if you want to learn more about the mod, hit them up, as well as a link to my Twitch channel. I stream twice a week, a lot of Diablo 2 content, and I'm going to be streaming this mod as well. So if you guys want to see that in the future, maybe hit me up with a follow. I'd really appreciate it. But guys, hope you enjoy this video. Let's jump in. So the first rumor that we're going to take a look at is Enigma. This is the rumor that everybody wants to know why it's changed or what has been changed. And there's a couple tweaks under the hood, nothing too crazy except for one, and we're going to talk about the reasoning behind it. Now, for the defense roll, instead of going from 750 to 775, it's now 500 to 775. Again, defense is going to be more important in PD2 than it is in LOD, because if you run, it's not going to be reduced to 0. So I think adding that varying stat roll is just you're trying to hunt to get a better roll every time you roll the Rune Word. Strength is 0.5 to 0.75 based on character level instead of being the 0.75. When you're fully leveled, I don't think this is going to make too much of a difference though. A few strength points here or there. Maybe for people that really want to min and max the build, they'll be trying to get the best possible roll on that one. Physical damage reduced has been halved. I don't really know how much of a difference this is going to make in the endgame content. I mean, going from 8DR to 4DR. You might want to try and stack it in additional sources, or maybe put a burr rune in a shaker or something. Now the MF, instead of being 1 based on character level, it's now 0.5 to 0.75. So we're dropping MF a little bit. I'm not a huge MF guy. I just like to kill as many monsters as I possibly can. So maybe people that really like to stack a lot of MF, this is going to bother them. This doesn't bother me at all. Now, the big change here is that instead of having teleport, you have a new skill called Blink, which is basically PD2's teleport. You have 3 charges, and there's a cooldown or replenishment of 8 seconds per charge. So if you spam 3 teleports in a row, you have to wait 24 seconds for your charges to completely recover. Now, I know a lot of people might not be super stoked about these changes to teleport if you're coming straight from an LOD mindset, but talking with Senpai about key farming in particular, without giving away any details, he's going to level the playing field so non-teleporting characters can farm keys just as effectively as teleporting sorceress can. Can't give you any more information than that. And then endgame tier mapping, if it's anything like Path of Diablo, you can't spam teleport anyways, because you're just going to end up teleporting into a really nasty boss pack and you're just going to die, because you need to take your time and move from pack to pack just because the density is so insane. So the changes to teleport is not going to be game breaking if you can abandon the mindset of the way teleport works in regular D2. Next up, we have this completely brand new Rune Word called Venom. So this isn't reworking of an original Diablo 2 Rune Word. It's just completely thought up from Senpai. It looks like it's geared toward a Poison Dagger Necro or maybe a Rabies Druid. It actually has some pretty powerful stats, considering it only requires a Tal, Dole, and a Malrune, including splash damage, ignores target defense, mana stolen per hit, minus enemy poison res, prevent monster heal, and then additional plus dagger skills, and even desecrate charges. So I'm assuming this is similar to the desecrate in Path of Diablo, where you create your own necrocorpse. So I would love to use this on a Rabies Druid for a playthrough. I mean, the ignored target defense is amazing for a melee character when you're starting out early on, because anything that's not a champion or a boss pack, you're going to hit, no problem. You're not going to be struggling trying to, proc your rabies and have it spread through and kill everything. And then aiming minus poison resistance and splash damage or a Tal, Dole, and a Malrune. This is a really interesting kind of working your way through as a solo self-found kind of like Rabies Druid or Poison Dagger Necro. Just a really cool Rune Word for Tal, Dole, and Mal, and I really like the introduction of Venom. Now, I have to admit, out of all the Rune Words that I've seen from Senpai in Path of Diablo, I think Beast is the coolest rework of them all. So they added splash damage and a varying fanaticism aura roll. So instead of rolling a flat 9, you can roll 8, 9, or 10. And then the IS is the same. They made the ED variation a little bit higher. So I think it's 240 to 270 in original LOD. So they made it 260 to 290. Crushing Blow, Open Wounds, and Prevent Monster Heal stays the same. They removed the additional plus strength and instead added Maul and Hunger in addition to Werebear. So I think this is really cool. It makes Beast, instead of being a stat stick to basically support your summons as a Necro or to shapeshift into bear form for some really weird niche build like a bear sorceress, you can now roll this Rune Word as a different character. So I don't know, a Druid or a Barbarian or something, buff up with Battle Orders, shapeshift into Werebear, and then start using Hunger and Maul. And by the way, Hunger is reworked and it looks amazing. I'm going to cover some of the skill reworks in a video probably next week, but I just think it's a really interesting change to Beast, making it more viable for actual in-game use instead of just being a support stat stick. One of the coolest but also most annoying Rune Words in LOD is Phoenix. It is very powerful. It's good for a fire damage dealing character and good for melee, but the chance to cast Firestorm on striking melee builds, it just interrupts the majority of characters. There's some exceptions, so it's very annoying. That has been changed and reworked in PD2. So we have a 10% chance to cast level 22 Combustion. So there should be a quick little clip up here showing what Combustion looks like. It works on ranged attacks as well as melee. It's super cool looking, but it doesn't interrupt melee characters. So that's really cool and a reworked benefit from LOD Phoenix. Now the Redemption Aura, it still varies from 10 to 15. That's the same. Enhanced damage has been nerfed a little bit. So instead of being 350 to 400, it's now 300 to 350. Defense versus missile stays the same. Fire Absorb stays the same as well, 15 to 21. That doesn't change from LOD, but they did reduce the maximum lightning res and the maximum fire res a little bit. So instead of being 5 and 10, it's now 4 and 8. So a little bit of a kind of nerf there. But honestly, considering the fact that you can now use this on melee builds without worrying about interruption, and it looks way cooler than what the previous Phoenix did, I think it's a cool reworking to a promising but kind of like not quite there Rune Word from original LOD. The next Rune Word to take a look at is Spirit. Now, this has been reworked and rebalanced in what should have been done a long time in original LOD. So there's kind of two approaches I think you could take to rebalancing Spirit. One is, particularly in a shield, one is to put a expensive rune into it, so something like Talthol or Vex, so you have to reroll it multiple times to get 35 FCR, and it costs a lot because you're burning Vex runes, or nerf the stats a little bit, and that's the route that PD2 took. Now, relax, Spirit is so overpowered that really honestly needs to be nerfed. Talthol, Ort, and Am, and used on every single endgame caster build, it needs to be rebalanced a little bit. So what they did in PD2 is they dropped the 2 skills to 1. The FCR still varies from 25 to 35, so if there's a specific breakpoint that you're trying to hit with a 35 FCR Spirit, that's still available to you. The FHR has been halved, so instead of having that easy Sorceress 60 breakpoint from 55 on Spirit and a 5 FHR Small Charm, that value has been reduced in half. Your Vitality doesn't roll a stat 22 anymore, it rolls from 11 to 22, and then they dropped that maximum mana of being, I think it's 89 to 112, now rolls 59 to 82. Cold Res, Lightning, and Poison Res stays the same, and same with Magic Absorb, so I really like this. I think that the stats that you see on this shield is more in line with Talthol, Ort, and Am. I mean, let's be honest, like, they're not expensive Rune Words, so you shouldn't really get the crazy stats you do on your LOD Spirit. And then it also opens up the possibility of maybe using other shields like a Corrupted Lidless if you want less strength requirement. If you don't want that 156, you can say you get like 4 1 sockets and Lidless. It's just adding different variation to caster shields, and honestly, I really approve of this rebalancing of this Rune Word. Next up, we have the Rune Word Heart of the Oak, your standard all-around #1 caster Rune Word in D2. It has been slightly reworked, so it's still $3 skills, but instead of the 40 FCR, it's now reduced to 30, so you have to be a little bit more thoughtful with your gear to reach those specific breakpoints because you're losing 10 FCR. And they reduced the resistance roll from, instead of it being 30 to 40, it's now 20, 30, so just kind of like slightly reducing the power of Heart of the Oak, but not completely like nerfing it into the ground. I think it's just to try and promote maybe other caster weapons on characters, because let's be honest, like Hammerden, Wind Druid, and a lot of Sorceress builds, it's really the go-to caster of Rune Word and original LOD. So Again, I think the idea is to just try and put some more emphasis on using different caster items. The one thing that I'm not quite sure on, I'm trying to wrap my head around, is the melee attack deals splash damage. Maybe they just added this for fun, or maybe to use on a barbarian, like on a scourge or something, so that you get splash damage, take advantage of the damage to demons and attack rating, and maybe 3 adult skills to boost your battle orders. I just thought it was an interesting use of splash damage, but nevertheless, it is there if you want to take advantage of it. What rune word does every single vanilla bone necromancer use in LOD? Of course, it's the rune word white, because you can get up to 8 to bone spear. So that has been reworked a little bit in PD2. So you can see here, this is a plain wand, so there isn't any additional plus bone spear skills, but is now 1 to poison and bone skills, 20 FCR with your skeleton mastery and bone armor. So if you did technically find a 3 to bone spear base, you could get up to 4 skills. Now, talking to Senpai, and it makes sense, the reasoning behind this is to try and promote the use of other wands on a bone necro besides white, because early on, Dole and Io is very easy to find, and then if you take the time to shop and try and get that 3 to bone spear base, as soon as you have that in a Dole and Io, I mean, it's game over. There's nothing really better to use for a bone necro for pure damage. So the idea here is to try and promote the use of using other rune words, or using other uniques like Bone Shade, or I guess technically rune words maybe like Heart of the Oak, because Odo is going to be 3 to bone spears versus 4 on this particular rune word if you get a 3 to bone spear base. So again, just promoting the idea of using different endgame caster weapons on a bone necro. And for those that are going to freak out, the bone tree has been buffed, so you don't need to worry about the lack of skills compared to like standard LOD bone necro, because that's all about just stacking as much skills as possible, and it's still a horrible PvM build. It's mostly PvP, but that's the idea here behind the kind of reworking of white in PD2. I will admit that out of all the builds that I played in D2, I do not have very much time on the Whirlwind Assassin, but I wanted to show off this rune word because it has been reworked. Chaos is now a little bit more viable for those that like that niche build. So what has changed? Well, they added splash damage. The level of Frozen Orb and Charge Bolt and Striking, they're now increased. I think it's 9 for Frozen Orb. It's now 21. I forget what the Charge Bolt is. The chance to cast out wounds, 1 to Whirlwind, 10 to Strength, 15 to Life after each demon kill. That's all the same. But you now have Repair 1 durability in 12 seconds. So you don't have that insane repair cost associated with this rune word. And I guess now you can roll this claw in Ethereal Claw. So maybe that's why they reduce the damage from 290 to 340. It's now 240 to 290. I'm guessing because you can roll it in Eth Claw now and take advantage of that repair durability. But again, I'm not a big assassin player, but if you guys like the niche build, you can play Whirlwind Sin in PD2. So now we're finally at the exclusive sneak peek rune words that Senpai has kindly let me show off in this video. These have not been seen yet in his developer streams. And first up is Eternity. Now this is a rumor that I cannot tell you how many times we've looked it up on Diablo.net, tried to theorycraft like how can I make this rune word work. Well, it's been reworked in PD2 to an extent where I think that you're going to see this used a lot on melee builds. They removed the annoying aspects of this rune word, kept the good stuff, and it's going to be very viable in my opinion. So first up, they added splash damage. So again, that's going to be awesome for melee builds. This rune word has always been indestructible. The ED roll still is the same variance. The life stolen per hit and crushing blow is the same as well. Cannot be frozen is still there. Now they have 10% reanimate as Wraith, so this is going to be similar to kind of like Faith. As you're killing stuff, you're going to be reanimating like minions to help you along the way. And you also have Revive, but Revive is similar to this skill like Battle Orders or Battle Command in CTA. It's not charges like it is in LOD. Because charges or Revive and Indestructible, they don't go together, because if you want to repair the charges, you can't make the rune word Eternity in an ethereal weapon base. Well, why do you have an indestructible weapon that has charges? So if you want to use the charges, you have to make it a non-eth base. If you want to have more damage, indestructible, that's fine, make it an ethereal base, but then you can't use your charges. That has been changed, so now you can do both at the same time. So ethereal Berserker Axe, 5 open sockets, you can roll Eternity, and still summon a Revive army, and as you're killing monsters, you're going to reanimate more. And they removed the hit blinds target. That is so huge, because now you can run like Reaper's Toll Mercenary or something, and you're not worrying about the stupid hit blinds target overriding the Decrep proc from Reaper's Toll. So I think Eternity is going to be a very powerful rumor for melee builds. The very last Project Diablo 2 rumor that I'm going to cover in today's video is the rumored brand. They've made some interesting changes to it. It is now like the coolest style points looking bow rumored ever. It has been reworked, a couple minor changes. They removed the chance to cast amplified damage when you're struck. Again, that's really kind of a useless feature on Bozon, let's be honest. I mean, you're not trying to run up with a glass cannon Bozon and then get hit to proc amp damage. That'll be different if it was a chance to cast on striking, but that would probably be too overpowered. But the enhanced damage stays the same. Firing explosive arrows or bolts, that's all the same. Still has ignore target defense, bonus attack rating, damage to demons, deadly strike, prevent monster heal, knockback. That is all kept the same. The difference here is you now have a 100% chance to cast level 25 Bone Spear, and it also has the added set of Bone Spear now fires 2 additional spears. So I was told from Senpai that at level 25 Bone Spear shoots 3, and then when you add the additional 2, you're proccing 5 Bone Spears from your Bozon. So imagine like a strafe Bozon with like the max highest breakpoint, just shooting arrows everywhere, and every single arrow is proccing and landing and shooting out 5 Bone Spears. I'm not exactly sure how much magic damage that is. I don't know if it's going to be like Brand in original LOD. The Bone Spear proc is really cool looking, but it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. I'm not sure if level 25 Bone Spear, if they shotgun and it's going to do a lot of damage, or it's going to be kind of like half damage, half style points. But this is a cool reworking of a bow that I've never really used a lot in LOD. But if I make a Bozon, I might be going Brand just because, I mean, let's be honest, the 5 Bone Spear procs is really cool style points. Well guys, there you have it. That wraps up today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I am really looking forward to some of the changes that have been made to Rune Words in Project Diablo 2. I'm super excited to play this mod. But let me know in the comment section below if you guys agree or completely disagree or would tweak anything differently, because the creator of this mod does watch these videos and he does listen to feedback. Might not necessarily be implemented on November 6th when PD2 launches, but he does take consideration and based on feedback. So he might listen to what you have to say. But guys, as always, if you could throw a like on this video, share it, and even consider subscribing if you're new to my channel. I post new weekly content on YouTube and I stream twice a week on Twitch. So a follow on Twitch and a sub on YouTube would be amazing. Other than that, guys, hope you have a fan-frickin-tastic day, and I'll catch you on my next video or live stream. Peace out.